Hello and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast with Isabel Tate and
Ron Tate. Hello and welcome.
Indeed. And check out our new artwork, awesomely done by Velta Fellows from Adventurers. She has done a brilliant job with that, so thank you. And check it out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference because I'm actually included in the artwork.
Yes, I thought
I'd
day to include you, seeing as you do all the pods with me now anyway, except for the odd occasion when I do interviews and you're not home.
Yeah, but don't worry, you're not going to have to listen to my massive bio at the start of the
get stuffed.
Mainly because it's not very massive.
Well, I'm going to have to get rid of that bio now because I'm Isabel Tate, not Isabel Ross, although I did those runs when I was Isabel Ross.
Yes.
Although, to be fair, I did some of the runs when I was Isabel Bespalov. So, but nobody remembers that now. When I was first running and doing quite well, I was Isabel Bespalov. It wasn't even Isabel Ross. But you see how quickly people forget?
Yeah.
So they'll forget Isabel Ross and I'll be Isabel Tate and no one will be any the wiser. But also, seeing as it's a podcast with both of us, that intro is not appropriate anymore. It's a bit narcissistic if I have that on, isn't it?
Yeah, but as I say, my bio is non-existent. So
it's non-existent, Ron. But sorry, my phone just moved on the table. There must be a poltergeist. That was a little bit weird.
No, there must be another earthquake here in Bantry Gully.
The epicenter of earthquakes.
Yes, there was an earthquake here this morning.
While we were at work
we were at work, yes. Very small one apparently, but yeah, right here in Bantry Gully.
But nothing was broken, thank God. I was saying something. But you are the voice of the everyday runner. Not that I'm an everyday runner too. I'm the voice of the coach.
Yes.
But you are the voice of the everyday runner who is not a coach without, the
qualifications
and the extensive study that I've done.
Yeah.
So that's what you are on board for. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. But so today first of all, we wanted to do a quick update.
An update.
Yes. Update. We could get you to do the music. Ready, Mr. Music? Oh, the old farts will know what I'm talking about. The young people going, what's she talking about? So
12 and 12.
Yes, I know. So I've had to change one of my races. I was going to be doing Princes Park 100K, and we were really looking forward to doing a local race, not having to travel, not having to sleep somewhere else. And I'm just moving the camera a bit, and then it got cancelled.
Yeah.
So I chatted with Brett, and it's not his fault. He wanted to run it, but it's Melbourne City Council in their infinite wisdom have made life extremely difficult in regards to permits. And, I don't envy race directors because that would be one job I wouldn't be able to stand because it's totally out of your control. No matter how, even if you do all the right things and jump through all the hoops, they can still say, no, just cause.
Yeah, and having a little bit of knowledge and experience myself about obtaining permits from councils for races, they just seem to
do it deliberately.
Yeah, well, their line is they don't want it, and you have to prove why it's a good idea.
But can't they see that it brings tourism to the area, money to the area? Like, how can they not see that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if there was 100K going on there, people would be using all the local cafes and shops and purchasing food for the racer and for themselves while they're hanging around. And I honestly don't understand councils or, like with you with the Sharpies beer run, like that's a tourist area. They're trying to attract tourists. Like, isn't that the whole, like, that's where they get a lot of their money from and what the businesses in that area rely on.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, I don't get it. It's like they're trying to shoot themselves in the foot. So anyway. I'm not doing that.
No.
I am doing I never know how to say it.
Brisbane Valley Rail Trail.
Yeah. I always want to say Brisbane, I don't know. Anyway, BRVT, I don't know. Brisbane Rail Valley Trail family. Anyway, whatever. I'll shut up now. So it's 100Ks on a rail trail. So Princes Park was always going to be flat and, totally out of my wheelhouse. So this will be 2.
Yes.
And luckily, and so it's in Brisbane, clearly. That's why it's called the Brisbane Valley. So it was also on the weekend that we were going to be sweeping the Surf Coast Trail Marathon. Yep. So Ron will still be sweeping. I will go and do the race all on my own. Oh my God.
The first separation since we've been married.
That's right. It's a portent of the future. But luckily my good friend Cassie Smith is going to take up the slack that you've left. And she's going to pick me up from the airport, and I'm going to stay at her place, and she's going to crew for me, and it's going to be awesome fun regardless. So thank God for Cassie. I really, really appreciate her doing that for me. So you'll still sweep.
Yep.
You've got to let them know.
Yep.
Anyway, and so I won't be sweeping. So I know I've said to some people, "I'll see you at Surf Coast Trail Marathon." No, I won't. And anyway, at the end of the day, no one ever wants to see me when I'm sweeping.
No, no one wants to see the sweep.
No, so that's okay.
Except at the start line as they run away from us.
Yes, or the only people that like seeing the sweeps are the people
volunteers. Yeah, that's right.
They love us.
That means they can go home.
Yeah, they love us to bits. So that means now, instead of only having 2 weeks between the races, I've got 3.
Yeah.
So woohoo!
Yeah,
how good is that?
That's geez, you can almost do a
race in between. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say you can almost
come on, spit it out. Jeez.
You can almost have a break, like a rest in between, like some time off.
Well, I had a bit of a rest last week, and then I got...
And then a taper. That's what I was trying to remember. You could almost taper between the races.
You can tell who's the coach and who's not, can't you? What's it called? What's that thing?
What is it when you don't
when you don't train? It's
called an injury.
Yeah. We don't know about that.
No.
We don't have injuries, we have niggles.
That's right.
It's funny because I was walking with Nikki Wind yesterday, and she was going, "Oh, it's not fair as well. You never have injuries." I'm going, I don't know, I have niggles. but never anything enough to stop me.
No, a niggle is something you ignore.
Well, not ignore. You monitor, and you do things to help it get better, not help it get worse.
But you don't stop.
But it's not bad enough to stop running. You know. But yes, I got back in. I did a speed session today, and that went really well. And my VO2 went back up to 51.
Yeah.
Which with doing all these 100Ks, it sort of dropped down a bit, and it'd gone back to 50, but it never, after each one, it would never go back up to 51. It finally did today. Not that I take the Garmin watch as gospel for everything, but that sort of thing does tell me, because I am feeling good, it kind of validates that as well. And
the number might not be correct, but the fact that it's going up.
Yes. Why do you say the number might not be correct? Are you inferring that I have lower than 51 VO2?
No, because as we've spoken about, VO2 doesn't really work with trail running.
No, that's why it dropped so much. Yeah. Because and today's speed work was obviously on the road, so but it is also an indication that my heart rate, because recovery is related to heart rate. Your heart rate will stay extended for a period of time after a race, your resting heart rate, because your body's repairing and that tells me that process is good. Now, don't get me wrong, people listening to this, normally I would not advocate for someone to do speed work a week after 100K. But if I stop doing speed work after each 100K, I'll just get slower and slower and slower. So for me, it's a little bit different. I am doing that sort of stuff, and normally I would not at all. Normally I would have a decent break, but normally I'd also run the 100K a lot harder. We took it pretty easy. Yeah. Although we worked, it was not like full on. Yeah. I used to race.
Completely depleted by the time we finished.
No. And it's not like, and we certainly ate for Australia after the next day after the race. So and that's one of the reasons why. Just realized the pot overflowed. Yeah, just put it on low. We're cooking mashed potatoes, and it's good to yeah, I know Ron loves mashed potatoes. I'm not a huge fan, but the things we do. No, just leave the lid off. Sorry, this makes for such good podcasting. And it's really good when they cook for a long time.
I am a whiz in the kitchen.
Oh, God. Him in the kitchen, like, seriously, he stirs things and things get flung on the freaking walls. When my daughter used to live with us, she used to go, oh, my God, I can tell when Ron cooks, there's food everywhere.
Yep, I've modelled my cooking skills on the Swedish Chef.
And once again, only the old farts will know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
And to be fair, I don't, because I always thought that show was shit anyway. I thought it insulted my intelligence because I was far too clever for that sort of childish stuff.
I thought it lived up to my intelligence. That tells you where we're coming from.
Yes, exactly. All righty.
All right. Should we get into it?
Oh, okay. The meat and potatoes of the podcast is we're talking about consistency. And not the consistency of the mashed potatoes.
No, which needs to be nice and creamy. Yep.
Creamy, lots of butter and milk. But consistency of your running. So, okay, the dictionary definition is it's a noun, and it's defined as the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way or of always happening in a similar way. In the context of running, though, this is me talking, not the dictionary now. It simply means the act of showing up and putting the work in, getting the work done regularly. And when it comes to a timeline, when we're talking about consistency, I'm not talking about days or weeks. Instead, I'm referring to months and then actually years of hard work and sweat and tears sometimes. So, like, you know, people wonder how I can keep doing all these hundreds and get back to doing the speed work. I'll tell you why, because of consistency. And years and years and years of consistency. There is no way I could have done this sort of stuff in the first, sorry, my phone keeps bloody buzzing, even though it's, in the first 5 to 10 years of, well, maybe up to around 10 years, but even then, no, not really. It's only been in the last couple of years, I think, that my body has really developed and adapted to these super long distances. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's consistency. And over years. And basically, your body needs time to get stronger, build muscle, develop the aerobic fitness, and strengthen the bones, okay? Because part of running and consistency is strengthening the bones. It's not just, you know, building fitness. Everyone thinks it's about building fitness. It's the muscles, the bones, all of the stabilizing muscles. As Anthony Robbins once said, and this is my quote, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what we do consistently. And that goes for everything. You know, if you're consistently running, you need to consistently sleep well. You need to consistently eat well. You need to consistently hydrate well. All of these things enable you to run consistently. And consistency is the basis of your habits, which is why I talked about sleep and eating and all that. Your habits, rituals, and behaviors that you perform automatically are grounded in consistency. You think about going to brush your teeth. You do that consistently twice a day, maybe 4. But that's all right. Who needs gums?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and your habits don't just appear out of nowhere. They aren't the result of genetics or random chance, rather the effect of months and years of behaviors that you do consistently. Okay. So, and you're much better to build up that consistency so that it becomes a habit rather than relying on motivation. Even discipline is because discipline can wear out too, you know, because it's tiring being disciplined, but it's habit. For me, it's just a habit to keep running and to run, you know. I don't have to think about it. I just do it. Motivation is unpredictable. It doesn't last long. There's rains one day. That's it. You don't want to run. For me, raining, well, it makes absolutely no difference to me if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's whatever. I might potentially not if it's hailing right in that moment because that hurts. But at the end of the day, rain doesn't bother me. Like it seriously doesn't. It's all just part of consistency. I'll get up at the butt crack of dawn and run, and you'll run after work just consistently. That's your habit.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't see progress if you rely on motivation alone. It has to be consistency. Now, what I've talked about so far, did you have it?
Yeah.
I've got more points, but don't go there yet. I have written notes, people. So do you have anything that you wanted to say about the consistency being a habit and that sort of stuff, as opposed to, you know?
I mean, once again, we spoke about it today because, you know, before I did my run, we went to the gym and did a workout. And as we were walking out of the gym, I was like, oh, here we go. I've got to, you know, I've got to run. I've got to find the energy.
And to be fair, I don't normally, once again, because I don't want to sound like a bad coach. I would not get my clients to do this. Just you.
Just me.
Yeah,
because it fits in with
my schedule.
with the schedule.
Because normally I would not advocate for doing weights just before a run. Normally you do the thing that you want to be the best at first. So I would normally say run and then weights. But I had to quickly come home and do a bunch of client calls before we did this podcast. So
so
Ron took one for the team.
That's right. So I did the strength work first, and then went out and did my
quality session. So he did a small quality session again. And once again, I would not do doing this with clients. God, I sound so shit.
I'm the example of what not to do.
No, but yeah, I mean, because once again, you have to do another 100K, and you know, it's all about, we're at the moment working on toughening the body up a bit. So but I'm only giving him one quality session a week. I'm giving myself 2.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And I've held your paces back a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the caveat there for everyone. Anyway, sorry, let's go back to rather than me bloody trying to get my foot under my mouth.
If I was, looking for motivation, it would have been pretty hard to find the motivation, because everything was telling me I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I've been an afternoon runner since I started running. It's just habit now. Like when I've finished work, I know that I'm going to be going for a run.
Which to me just sounds awful because my habit is morning, and I couldn't think of anything worse.
It used to be that I would stop on the way home to run, because once I got home, that was it. I couldn't drag my butt out of the house.
So how are you now able to run? Because obviously we don't do weights every night, but he always comes home first.
Yeah.
So how have you
unless
that
I stop at at some trails on the way
but
home,
you don't do that very often.
Not anymore. Once again, it's become a habit. The afternoon running has become a habit. I don't dread running in the afternoon because that's what I do. I don't. In fact, I probably dread running in the morning on the weekends, because that's what we do on the weekends.
It's like mid-morning by the time I get your lazy butt out of bed.
I dread that more than I dread running after work. Even on a hot day, like if it's a hot day, I still don't dread it.
I don't get it. But, that's behaviours and habits and that sort of thing. And do you feel that it becoming a habit has helped you maintain that consistency?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to look for the motivation or the
it's just
this
is what you do.
That's what my body does.
And that's what you have to do with all habits. You've got to make it so that I'm the kind of person that runs I'm the kind of person that runs in the afternoon. I'm the kind of person that runs in the morning. And you just become that person. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of runner that runs 6 days a week. I'm the kind of runner that runs 5, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, I could set my alarm for 4 o'clock in the morning and get up and run before work, but that just sounds like I would do it maybe twice and then that was it. That is one thing I couldn't get motivated for.
Yeah, and
because it's not a consistency, it's not a habit thing. I just wouldn't do it. Like I'd be so tired. I'd press snooze on the alarm and go back to sleep. So that's why I'm happy running after work, because when I finish work mid-afternoon, I don't work very late because I start very early. It makes it much more doable for me.
And that's part of it is find out what works for you. Make it so that the habits are easy to form.
Yeah.
Don't make it so that you have to really slog to make the habits. It shouldn't be. They should. You've got to have ease, and all the habit books that I've read talk about this, that, make it an easy habit to create. Don't make it a difficult habit to create. And you running in the morning would be a very difficult habit for you to create. I mean, I'm sure if you persisted for 2 years, you'd manage it, but it would be 2 years of misery until you got into the habit. And even then it probably still would be misery.
Yeah.
But develop a habit that works for you. So if that's afternoon, then that works for you. If it's, your lunchtime break, because I used to do that when I used to have to do invisible training. I used to train on my lunch breaks, those sorts of things, whatever works for you. But make sure it's an easy habit to create. Now, the reason why consistency is important, I touched on it before, is that you optimize your form, your economy, and your aerobic development through running consistently. It's really hard to say. Your body needs constant practice for the neurological and physiological adaptations that are required to become a strong and capable runner. Because, like I was saying, it's not just about getting fitter. It's all the other things, like how the muscles fire when you're sprinting, when you're running easy, all that. It needs to develop. And at the same time, the volume and intensity of the running that you are doing is limited by the strength of your muscles, your ligaments, your tendons, and your bones. If they're not strong enough, you are not going to be able to increase volume. And the only way to make those 4 elements strong enough, let alone your fitness, is the consistent running. So even if you're starting off and you're just doing 5K runs, that's better than, doing 5K runs is better. I'll talk about it later in my notes, but anyway, is better than doing 125K run every, 10 days or something like that. Yeah. Many or a lot of the injuries that runners get stem from the impact of running and doing too much too soon. And that impact affects the body the most when it's too much too soon. That's why you see so many beginner runners get injured, myself included. So if you're not consistent with your running, this is what I was talking about. 4 runs a week of 5 kilometers are much better than one single run, 10 kilometer once a week or 20 kilometer once a fortnight, and then doing nothing, So start with building small but consistent kilometers in the beginning, even though if you're not a beginner runner and you're returning from injury, or from a long, like if you've ended up because of life having a 3-month break, you're not a beginner runner, but you can't just go back to the kilometers you were at and build at the same pace. And another way of increasing the consistency of your runs and getting sort of more consistent runs is adding walk breaks into the runs if you need to. And that's absolutely fine. When I was coming back from, after costocosi and the surgery, when my body was feeling pretty terrible, I was doing run walks. I would run, and then when that was too hard, I would walk, and that might be 3 minutes of running and then 1 minute of walking. But you've got to learn to listen to your body and not just push through all the time. So to be any good at running, you have to train frequently and consistently to improve your economy, build aerobic fitness, and strengthen the body. And one of the added benefits of running consistently is I almost said that word wrong. It reduces the effects of delayed onset muscle soreness. If you run really infrequently, you get DOMS. And then, of course, what's the last thing you want to do when you've got DOMS?
Run again.
Run again. And so then you take more time off, and then you run and DOMS and run. And so then you're just battling it constantly. DOMS, of course, is delayed onset muscle soreness. Did I say that? And it's due to microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. So it's actually a good thing, because those microscopic tears, when they repair, come back making the muscle bigger and stronger and tougher. So it's they're not bad tears, they're good tears, but it does make running the next day hard. So if you're constantly inconsistently running, you're more likely to get DOMS, which makes consistent running harder and harder again. So, Ron, when you first came to see me for coaching, that was so that you could get back consistently into running, wasn't it?
Yes. I had an ankle injury that had not kept me out of running completely, but had really I took a break, but then as I was coming back, I was really inconsistent. I was I'd run for a little bit, and then it had hurt again, so I'd stop. I was probably down to, running 5Ks at a time was about my limit.
And how often were you running that?
And I was probably doing that 2 times a week. I couldn't seem to build back up again.
Yeah. And now look at you.
And I was looking, motivation was way down. Like I because it was so hard, I wasn't looking forward to it. I didn't really want to do it. I love running, but just the pain and I just couldn't look forward to the aftermath of the running rather than the actual running itself. So I approached you for training so that I could build it back up. And let's be honest, my training techniques were not great. I used to pretty much just run every run as fast as I could for as long as I could, and that was it.
And then wonder why it hurt.
Yeah. And so So yeah, obviously my training techniques were pretty bad. So I knew that I needed training and needed to get a proper program to learn how to, train.
Structure the running.
Yeah, that's right. To get back to where I wanted to be.
And do you feel that the plan that I gave you, I mean, obviously it's 3 years since then and more, but do you feel that, I mean, look at you now, you're training 6 days a week, you're doing more 100K races than you've ever done before.
That's right. And
you're doing strength work, proper strength work, not just whatever you fudge through at the gym and that sort of stuff. So,
and I think at the time I had maybe done 2 or 3 100K weeks in my entire, training time.
Yep.
And that was mostly just in the build up to my first 100K race, where I did a couple of longer runs.
But now you've done quite a few.
But now, for a while then, it's dropped off a bit now.
When I was training for Coast to Cosy.
When you were training for Coast to Cosy, I was...
And you were training for Coast to Cosy.
Sorry, when I was training for Coast to Cosy, I was consistently over 100Ks
that's
every
right.
week.
And your body was fine. And it was all on bitumen.
Yeah.
Like, we were not trail running.
No. So and backing it up week after week.
Yeah.
And without any real issues.
And I would say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would believe that that's due to having built up your consistency. Like, you'd had a good 2 years then to build up that consistency.
That's right.
And that enabled you to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's right. For quite before we started doing those longer weeks, I was still generally in the high 80s to 90s every week.
And that consistent 80 to 90 Ks a week really got you through to those 100K weeks.
Yeah.
And, those kind of kilometers are not out of the realms for people. I know a lot of people sort of stick to around 50 Ks a week, but for doing ultras, you really need to be doing closer to 100 Ks a week. And doing those consistently has led you to be able to do more 100K races, hasn't it? Because you'd only ever done 2.
That's right. And not only do more 100K races, but actually
enjoy them
and come out of them not needing a month off. Come out of
Admittedly, to be fair, people, we didn't race them hard. Like, if you'd raced it, you wouldn't have needed a month off.
No.
But you would have had a little bit more to recover
and dropped my Ks back in the aftermath.
Yeah, but we dropped your Ks back. We have, but yes.
But it would have been a lot longer.
Yes. Oh, yes.
To get back into running shape.
And so this is the thing. I mean, yes, I give Ron workouts and long runs and all that, but and that helps him with his speed and form and everything. But the main reason he can do some of these longer runs and bigger weeks is because of the consistency he has built up. And it is honestly, the power of consistency cannot be understated or underestimated as well. Like, you really need to respect consistency. And we were at the trail run event at Lake Myton, and I was speaking to someone, I'll say Richard, and who used to be a client, but he'd sort of dropped off with other commitments, and he was saying he was finding it really hard to get back into training, getting the consistency up, because, like we said, it's a habit, and once you break that habit, it's so hard to start a habit again, isn't it?
It is.
It's really hard, and that's where a coach comes in, is they give you that structure and they know exactly how to set it all out for you, so you get developing the consistency again without getting injured, because your ankles have been great too, haven't they?
Touch wood, I haven't had an ankle issue for well over a year now. Yeah.
And even then, it was
rolling. Mainly, because I've rolled my ankles so many times, it's become habitual. It's almost as consistent as my running. But
not anymore.
But no, doing consistent, lots of, I guess, longer runs on trails has helped to, and work in the gym. Has helped strengthen the muscles around my ankles, so that even if I feel it's starting to go, I can generally recover.
Yeah, that's what I find, is my ankles roll, but I am able to recover from it. Like, I can, and my body is able to respond to it without it just going snap. And I think you've got that now too.
That's right.
So if you're wanting to build up consistency, here are a few tips. Number 1, schedule your runs. So basically, dedicate time to run. Like, if you have to write it in your diary, if anyone actually uses them pen and paper anymore, or just put it in your phone or whatever, But if you're not scheduling your runs, chances are you're going to skip. You won't do it. You'll skip it. And your run needs to have a purpose. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, I'm just going out for a run. Like, have a purpose for it. Even if you're not training for an event, you should still be doing speed work, and those sorts of things. And so make sure that you block out time for your runs. Start small. Don't go, right, I'm starting on this consistency, 30Ks on Saturday, 20 on Sunday, 10 the next day. All right, start off with small sessions, and don't go from training 1 day a week to straight to 5 days a week. Maybe every second day, a 5 to 8K run, and then go slow. You don't have to, like Ron said, he used to run every run as hard as he could, which is an absolute recipe for disaster. Take it easy, go slow, run, walk if you have to. To start with, aim for, every second day, then build it up and slowly over time, drop the rest days. Okay, take walk backs if necessary. Like I said, log your runs. So basically, I know most of us have got Strava or Garmin Connect or whatever the Chorus equivalent is, but even just write some notes in it, how it felt, what you did, this many, run for 3 minutes, walk for 1, or whatever it is that you did. Write it in there so you can see your progress over time, because although I said motivation isn't everything, it is motivating to see the progress that you're making. And, it is nice to enjoy what you've done. Now, how many days a week is it best to run for consistency to be truly beneficial once you've built up? 5 days a week is really the minimum. If you're particularly injury prone, it is really the minimum. 4 days a week really isn't consistent enough. And really for anyone, even if you're not injury prone, I really think 5 days. Because any less than this, and you're not really getting the benefits of the consistent running, and you will become more susceptible to injury. 6 days a week is the best, as you get time for all the different runs, a long run, a couple of workouts, a few easy days, and then a rest day. So my personal belief is 5 to 6 days is what you need for that consistency to be able to build up over the years to make you a strong and capable runner. And basically, there are no shortcuts in distance running or in any running. You cannot fudge your training and expect to be able to finish a marathon or an ultra in a reasonable state. Sure, you might be able to grovel to the end, but do you really want to spend $600 to do a race to be in absolute misery for 3/4 of it? To me, that just sounds like a ridiculous idea. We don't do this sport so that we can finish, feeling the worst we've ever felt. We want to finish tired and spent, but uninjured and still basically human, okay? So work on building that consistency up. And before you start worrying about fancy workouts or huge long runs, build that consistency first. That's what you need to become a better runner. If you're already doing it, kudos to you. But if you're not, that is why it is so important, because, it does make the sport so much more enjoyable. It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. To know that you're not going to be in, that you're going to be able to knock out a distance and not be in pain because of it for the next day or the day after.
The consistency alone helps to toughen up your feet. like, you don't want to end a race with blisters and everything because your feet aren't used to running. It's all those little things, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a blister on my foot for 4 years, I reckon.
I used to get them when I was doing ultras when I first started out, but I don't get them anymore. My feet are like hobbit feet, no?
Yeah. They're
very attractive.
One big callus. It's hard to get a blister because it's all callus.
Yeah. They're not that bad. It's being mean. But, you get the picture. It toughens the feet up. It toughens the mind up. The consistency toughens the mind too. If you're wanting to get stronger so you stay mentally strong in a long race, get consistency under your belt, because like me, the weather doesn't bother me. I run regardless, and so do you. Yeah. Like you said, if it's hot, you just run anyway. Yeah. Not that I necessarily advocate for that either, because it's actually not healthy.
I take extra water and take walk breaks when it's extra hot.
Good. But that all toughens you mentally. Being consistent really toughens you mentally. So do what you can to become more consistent.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets.
It does. Just like anything, really. Yeah. And, if we sat there procrastinating about brushing it, I couldn't be bothered brushing it. I don't feel like it today. This was me in primary school, but now you just brush your teeth because you know it's good for you. You know your teeth need it. You know, if you don't, then it's going to be expensive and you're going to have rotten teeth. So it's the same with running. You know, it's good for you. You know, it's going to help you be a better runner. You know, it'll help you avoid injury, which can be expensive when you're seeing physios and whatnot. So get the consistency in.
Yep.
All righty.
It works. It really does.
It does. And that's, like I said, before you worry about anything too overly fancy, but a coach really can help with you developing your consistency.
Absolutely. If for nothing else, I mean, one of the reasons why I knew a coach would be good for me is because I follow things to the letter. So if you told me to do a 5K run, I would do a 5K run. I wouldn't do a 6K run.
So if I told you to do an 80K run, would you have gone and done that?
Absolutely, because it was there.
Yes.
Which leaves you open for typos.
Yes.
But that was the key for me, is I knew that if my coach told me to do something, I was going to do it because I wouldn't feel right otherwise.
And that's a lot of the reason why people get a coach. And I want to do a podcast on this very topic with you, because to get the perspective of someone who is not a coach on what the benefits of a coach is. So we won't go into it too deeply here. We will talk about that in a couple of weeks. Yes, that will be discussed. Anyway, and that is one of the benefits of a coach, basically. All righty. So thank you for listening to us talk about consistency. And please, you know, DM one of us. Could be Ron. Doesn't have to be me anymore.
No.
He likes to get a message. Or email me, isabel@peakendurancecoaching.com.au, or just comment on the post for this and tell us what your thoughts about this topic are. How
hard do you find being consistent?
Yeah.
And what are your tricks to
help you
become stay consistent or become consistent?
Yeah. Yes. We would be interested to know, and I'm sure everybody else would too.
Yeah.
And so thank you to FlexBeam for helping me be more consistent. Yeah. I'm telling you, oh my God, I was just marveling today. I like that word marvel at the moment, if you notice. I was using it earlier, the word today, another day. I was marveling at how awesome it is not having to stop on my runs for my pesky calf, and I can just run and run and run and be happy. And it is all thanks to the FlexBeam, I have to say. So if you do have niggles or anything that is stopping you being consistent, I highly recommend the FlexBeam. Now, I've got the weirdest running injury at the moment, don't I? I've got tennis elbow.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to think of what was going on with your legs, but yeah, that's right.
Freaking tennis
elbow.
Golfer's elbow. Like, how the hell do you get that?
She's got to stop taking a tennis racket on her
runs. That must be it. Swear to God, and it's so freaking painful. Luckily, I can still use poles, but I can't like hold a drink bottle in that hand. I can't open jars. I can't do the vacuuming.
It's not the first thing that stopped her from doing the vacuum.
I couldn't do it anyway.
Once again, consistency and motivation was lacking.
Absolutely. And no discipline whatsoever.
Not at all.
No, but that's my excuse. Oh, I can't vacuum and I can't do the gardening and I can't do anything. I can't even unscrew the bottle of wine.
No.
So I've been using the FlexBeam on that, and oh my God, it helps so much. It really makes it like if I've forgotten to use it after about say 4 or 5 days, because it's a bit hard to put it on my arm because I really can't do anything else, then it'll start to hurt again. But I get that on it, and it's within an hour it feels so much better. I only have it on for 10 minutes. I don't have it on for an hour, but you know what I'm saying.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were interviewing an American Olympic coach who coached or coaches at track.
Aye.
And they had in their, I think it was the Rio Olympics, they shipped in a whole body.
Yes, that's right. I was listening to that one too.
Yeah, whole body infrared machine that they could, I guess, lie in like a sunbed type thing.
Yeah, but because it works.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be doing it at that level and spending that amount of money if it didn't bloody work. It works. So I'd forgotten about that. Honestly, I I just wish everyone could experience it like I have. I'm like one of those converts.
Yeah.
So go to FlexBeam, but there's a link in the show notes where you get 10% off and use Isabel Ross 10. Because honestly, I can't. I've forgotten the word.
Rave
about it high enough, but yeah, that's not quite the word. No. But you get the gist.
Yes,
you get the gist. And peak chocolate too. I've forgotten what Isabel Ross for that, for 15% off. It's good stuff, and especially good the caffeine one for races.
Yeah,
I forgot to take it to the prom and I did miss it. And I don't normally eat sweet things in races, but I can eat that because it's not sweet. But it's chocolatey.
Yeah, that's right.
And even you like it, and you only like Cadbury shit.
That's right. I only like the real milk chocolate. Once again, sugar.
Yeah, it's just sugar. Yeah. But you're not allowed to eat that anymore. And that's not me.
No,
that's not me, and that's not my healthy influence. No, that wasn't enough.
She tried very hard. She I
tried publicly shaming him on Instagram.
She'd pretty much given up on influencing it.
Completely given up.
And then the doctor stepped in and said, your cholesterol is extremely high and you need to alter your diet.
So I did some research and found out that, yes, sugar does add to that. Everyone thinks it's just fat, but it's also bloody sugar.
So Isabel's saying, oh, my God, thank God, he's finally got through to it.
Seen the light.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Yeah, well, because what it's like. No one, you don't listen to me.
No.
No, great.
Not when you're telling me to eat salad.
Yeah, I know. Eat salad, not chocolate. You'll be so much happier.
You've been saying eat those chips. Oh, look, fried dim sims. You should really eat them.
Gross.
Well, listen to that.
Yeah, I know.
That's the kind of nutritional advice I would like.
But I'm afraid you will not get.
No,
you've come to the wrong person for that one. So anyway, have peak chocolate. That went from peak chocolate to your cholesterol. God knows how that happened.
That's dim sims.
Yes. I think someone's craving a dim
sim.
I think we live like a few steps away from a bloody fish and chip shop, and I tell you,
fish and chip shop.
When you finish your run.
And they've just turned on their fryers and the whole neighbourhood smells of fish and chips. And we say, fish and chips is one of those things, like your Bunnings sausage, that smells so much better than it tastes.
Yeah. And by God, does it smell good. I don't really crave that sort of stuff, but I smell that, I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah.
Why can't a salad smell that good? Oh, well. Anyway. Ron's enjoying his salads and his sugar-free stuff.
Yep.
Not artificially sweetened. He won't eat that because I'm totally against those. So anyway, that's that. So next week I have actually already written the notes for what is next week, but I've actually forgotten what the topic is.
Oh, okay.
It's because I know I was going to talk about it, but I've had a complete mental, I almost said blank on what it was. And the harder I try to think of it, I'll think of it as soon as I stop recording. But yes, that's all planned out. Okay. We'll talk about that.
Look forward to that.
Yes, it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
And I was going to say it's reframing failure. That's one of the topics I want to talk about, but I don't know. I don't think it's that. Anyway, it'll be interesting.
I'm sure it will.
Fascinating, instructive, educational, and it's a topic we can both talk about, no doubt.
I'm sure it is.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a surprise. All righty. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us because I know there's a bajillion podcasts out there that you could be listening to. So we really appreciate you, whether you're from France, people listening from France, lots of people from Canada and America and Australia, obviously. And, all those other kind of countries. If you're listening to us from a foreign country, well, foreign to us, not foreign to you, obviously it's home, a foreign country, please, can you shoot us a message in some way, shape or form or comment on the post? We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from people listening from other countries.
Yep.
And, what do you think of us Aussies?
Yeah. And how do you experience running and / trail running
in your country? Like, we'd really love to know. And Ron and I are going to Europe this year. we'll be going to Germany and France and
Austria
and Switzerland and Belgium to see Kat. So if you're listening from one of those countries, maybe we could join you for a run.
Yeah, so drop us a message and
drop
say hello.
A message.
Yeah, and
wouldn't that be fun? We could do some sort of podcast with interviewing some international runners. How does that sound? I just came up with that right then.
That sounds great.
So if you're listening from another country that is not Australia, please do message us. Let us know, and we'll try to tee something up, because the running community is awesome. So I'm sure they're lovely people.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned next week for another fascinating conversation.
Yep.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.